In today's Taiwan by Number, we're going to be talking about cell phone monitoring for people who are in quarantine. All right, Natalie, we're going to start off with a big number. You ready?
Okay, sure.
All right, our big number today is how many people have been under quarantine or home isolation since the coronavirus hit Taiwan?
In Taiwan, you mean, right?
Total.
Oh, I have no idea. 80,000?
All right, let's have a look at the answer.
Are you serious? I think I must have saw that number somewhere. I must have saw it
80,000.
somewhere.
I think she's been cheating again. So 80,000 have been under quarantine or home isolation since it began. Now, currently, there are about 40,000 people who are under quarantine and about 1,400 people who are under home isolation. Again, those people who are under home isolation, those are people who have come in contact with confirmed cases. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about how cell phone monitoring works for all these people who are under quarantine or home isolation. So basically what they have is a new system which is called an electronic fence. And it's basically a phone tracking system. So you arrive at the airport, they ask you for your cell phone number if you have a Taiwan cell phone, or they give you a smartphone. So it has to be a local number. Then they ask you for the address of where you're going to be quarantined or in isolation. Then they pair the two up. And so then they can keep tabs on you based on the signal that's emitted from your SIM card. So cell phone towers will triangulate your location based on the strength of the signal.
But what if you don't take your phone with you and you leave the home?
Well, they call you every day to find out if you're at home.
Right.
So that's also part of it. That's a good question. Now, my question for you is, if you leave that, well, I should tell you first that if you leave the address, you get a warning message and the local authorities are alerted and they will call you immediately as well. Now, if your phone goes off, like it's out of power, how quickly are the authorities notified?
Oh, 5 minutes? Or maybe 1 minute.
Wow, can you imagine? The authorities are constantly alerted by little mishaps, people losing power. Let's have a look at the answer.
15 minutes, okay.
15 minutes, yeah.
Interesting.
You can imagine if it was too quick, like
That's
people
true.
have...
Because usually you run out of battery at one point.
Yeah.
That's very common.
I think it's pretty common. I mean,
So you have 15 minutes leeway to get that battery going.
Exactly, exactly. So don't let it lapse too long. Now, I want to tell you about an American university student who's under quarantine in Taiwan. He was awakened last Sunday morning by the police knocking on his door because his phone had gone off. Didn't have any batteries. So he was very surprised, of course. It turns out that not only did his phone go off, he actually got 4 phone calls because they knew as soon as there was no signal, right? And they also got a text message warning that the guy could be arrested for violating quarantine. So my question is, how long did it take for the police to show up at his house?
Since it went off?
Yes.
Half an hour?
All right, let's have a look at the answer.
Oh.
50 minutes. And you can see down there, he says, my phone, which is satellite tracked by the Taiwan government to enforce quarantine, ran out of batteries at 7:30 a.m. By 8:15, 4 different units called me. By 8:20, the police were knocking at my door.
Yeah, I think I saw that story.
Yeah.
It was a little bit longer than I remembered.
Yeah.
But still really quick.
It is very quick. I mean, of course, it also depends on how close the police are. And of course, they're very busy. They've got a lot going on.
They're on top of it, man.
But they're on top
You don't want
of
to,
it.
break quarantine in Taiwan.
Yes.
You'll get fined $1 million.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to say that there have been some concerns about how the government is tracking people by their phones. Now, a government spokesperson has responded to this, saying that it is legal and it is a necessary measure in a time of pandemic, and they will only do it for this period of the pandemic.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Andrew. And that is our Taiwan by Number for the week.